What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Arrow Season 6, Episode 12, All for Nothing. So, yeah, this episode was all for nothing. They lobbed it right over a plate, and I just whoosh out of here. I don't understand. I've been talking about how the team has not been interesting enough, how I'd rather focus on the Cade and James stuff. And so what do? Hey, I know, let's have a Dinah and Vince related episode. Because all of our fans don't care about any of the team, so why not have an episode devoted solely to one of the members of the team? Oh my god, it's so stupid. First of all, let's talk about the stuff that's not Dinah and Vince related. So we see Oliver and team are trying to get pretty much more information about Cade and James. Well, they managed to track down Vigilante, and when they do, that's when they find out that Vince has been working with the other team. And so they use him to sort of get the information, and that causes him to be captured. And so in that process, there's a moment where Oliver and Diggle need to go get the bombs, and so they ask the other team for help, but they say no, and I'll talk about that in a second. So they try to stop it. Diggle, I guess, manages to save a bunch of people because Anatoly was transporting the bomb out and had like 4 different trucks that the bomb might have been in one of them. And even then, he had guys waiting for Oliver. And so, obviously, Oliver and Diggle couldn't do it on their own because Diggle stayed behind to help the people. Oliver and the rest of the team could have gone after the bomb, and then when the people showed up, 2 of the members of the team could have stayed and took on the guys while the other 2 tracked down the trucks, tried to figure out which one had the bomb in it. But because the other team is stupid, it ended up just being Oliver, so he got stopped before he could track down the bomb. Ultimately, though, this does lead to, because Vince was able to get the information, Elena, whatever her name is, the Helix girl, she managed to get enough information to find the video that showed Oliver killing Cade and James's son, and obviously it was doctored. What's interesting, though, is that it was doctored the same way that the video or the photo of Oliver being Green Arrow was leaked to the press. That's kind of interesting to me, and this part of it is still interesting, the fact that there's somebody behind the scenes. However, they do say it's somebody close to Cade and James, somebody who knew how he would react, and so, the only person I can think of is Laurel. But that would be kind of dumb. I was hoping maybe there'd be like somebody we haven't seen, but somebody we do know that's been helping Cade and James. That might be interesting, but just having it be somebody we already know, one of these members of the team, either Anatoly or Laurel, I don't know. It's not as interesting to me. And on Laurel, we also see that Quentin realizes Laurel's been tracking him and been following him, and so he feels like, oh, maybe there's still some Laurel left in her, and so he's going on this kind of pointless crusade, in my opinion. I talked about the last episode how I feel like they're not going to do a redemption storyline for her. It would just be too obvious, way too easy. And Quentin, I don't know, it just feels like he's buying into this way too quickly. This idea of, oh, she's following me? It must be because she wants to talk to me and maybe turn her life around. I don't know, it seems like he's fallen for that way too easily. Obviously, maybe she is kind of interested in him, and maybe there is some sort of like feelings of, I think her father, I think Quentin died on Earth too, so maybe seeing him again is sort of resurfacing those feelings, but that doesn't mean that she's a good person. And even Thea at the end of the episode, she says that Vince was killed by Laurel, and so she's kind of like, maybe we were wrong to assume that she's still a good person. So, I don't know, that side of it is, I feel like he's being a little too naive, but maybe now that he realizes this, maybe they'll stop that side of it. But yeah, she does at one point see, he has like this video set up of Laurel and has pictures set up of her, and she kind of freaks out. She's like, that's not me, and then shouts everything out of the way. So maybe they're going for something along the lines of maybe she will betray Caden to, help Quentin, but I don't think it's going to be full redemption. I don't think she's going to be a good person. I think she might just have that feelings of, oh, my father is still alive on this earth. So with that being said, now we move on to the stuff with Dinah and Vince. So, yeah, Dinah's an idiot, and she is the one that got Vince killed. And I know this show is trying to blame Oliver and his team for not helping, but the fact of the matter is, by the end of it, Cade and James didn't know for sure that Vince. I mean, he had a lot of suspicions. He had that talk with him where he's talking about, oh, you're a vigilante who's working with bad guys to kill other vigilantes. I've had my suspicions since the beginning, but Vince never broke. It wasn't until Caden James turned on the earpiece, which of course he did, because Vince is being tortured. Hello, how would he be able to turn on his anyway? I mean, none of the team seemed to think that, and so Dinah, of course, takes the bait, goes in there, and that confirms Caden James's suspicions. He's like, oh, now I know for sure. Because the thing is, he would never know for sure. He wouldn't have killed him until he was 100% sure that he couldn't trust him. And Dinah confirmed that by showing up there, by being there and going to rescue him after his comms got turned on. Which, first of all, we already know. We saw at the beginning of this episode, the Argus agents, their comms got hacked into and electrocuted. Why would you send him in with comms? I understand you want to talk to him, but I don't know. It feels like Caden James, he can do anything with comms. He can hack into him. He can do whatever he wants. Why would you send him in there with regular comms? But anyway, so Dinah confirms his suspicions and ends up getting Vince killed. And of course, what does she do? She blames Oliver for it. Because she's stupid. She doesn't realize that it's all her fault because, frankly, one, she's stupid. Two, she's probably in denial about it. And so this show it treats it like, oh yeah, all Oliver's fault. Again, he's in the wrong. He tries to go apologize. Well, actually, he doesn't go apologize, thankfully, because it wasn't his fault in the first place. But she just goes, oh, Vince was right. The only way you can solve this is with a bullet, so I'm going to kill him, starting with Laurel. And that's how the episode ends. I'm just like, I don't care. I do not care at all. And it's so dumb the way they're handling this because they're still working together. It's just they don't want to. They've got to make these little snide comments. Renee is in the base. He's like, man, I got to get out of here. I got some PTSD being up in here. And I'm just like, shut up. PTSD from what? You're so arrogant, so stupid. Like, oh, being on this team, it put me in danger, and I got PTSD from that crap. Just shut the hell up. You probably gave more of the team PTSD than they gave you. From all the times you did something stupid, you went out of line, you put the team in danger because you didn't follow orders. All these things you did, and you're going to... I just hate this storyline. This is so freaking stupid because they're treating it like, oh, this is a good thing, guys. Look at this, the new team trying to do their own thing. They're trying to battle against Oliver, and it's working. This storyline is something that everybody's interested in. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about this new team. Nobody cares about Renee or Curtis or Dinah or Vince. All the flashbacks in this one were all about how Dinah and Vince, we already knew the story. We knew they were working undercover and then they got captured, they got found out. We knew that the particle accelerator exploded and then Vince got shot and that's how he was able to heal and Dinah was able to scream, do her canary cry. We already knew all of this, and yet they felt they had to show us because why? Oh, we want you to care more about Dinah and Vince. Well, make them interesting characters. Don't just show us more backstory that we already knew. And that's the biggest problem I have with this. They feel like this team is interesting enough to carry an episode on their own, and they do not. And it's almost like, I almost kind of get this feeling of they're trying to take this show in a new direction because we're 6 seasons in. We got to try to do something different. Great. Do something interesting. Do something new with Oliver. Now he's trying to be a dad as well as being a superhero. Fine. That's fine. You're not focusing as much on the dad stuff anymore. Thank you. And you're actually having him try to be mayor and father and superhero all in one. That's pretty difficult. And they're actually tackling the difficulties of it. They're not just saying, oh, I'm done being the Arrow because I need to be a dad. I need to focus more here than I do on being an Arrow. No, he's trying to do it all because he needs to, because the city is in danger, and that's what he needs to do. And he's actually discussing this. He has a talk with his son in the last episode about this is what it has to be because they need me out there. And his son accepts it for it because the writers finally grew a brain for this side of it. And I'm glad for that. We don't have to deal with the whole family drama and Oliver saying, oh, I can't be Arrow anymore because William doesn't want me to and all of this stupid crap. So, yeah, I don't know. there's certain parts of it. The whole Caden James thing is actually starting to get interesting, and I want to know who's been manipulating him. I really hope it's not one of the members of his team that we've seen most of this season. I want it to be somebody stepping in and be like, "Oh, it was me all along," or whatever. I don't care. If it ends up being like Laurel or Anatoly, I'm gonna be pissed because that's not interesting. That's pretty much predictable. So that's it for this episode. Now on to the next one. And episode 13, The Devil's Greatest Trick. I'm done. This season held a little bit of interest for me. I was like, okay, maybe it's going to go somewhere very interesting. Maybe this stuff with Caden James. Maybe there's something going on here that is going to be interesting by the time you figure out about it. You know, what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to it. It's like the writers of this show are just stupid. Like they don't get it. They don't understand how to write a good, not necessarily a good mystery, but a good hero show, a good superhero show. They don't understand it all. Because this entire part of the season, these 4 episodes, have been building up that maybe there's somebody behind the scenes that's been kind of running Caden James. It's been actually fooling him into thinking that Oliver is responsible for his son's death, and he's the one that's been pulling the strings, and he's the one that got Caden James to sort of set up this little cabal, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm just like, this guy sounds awesome. You know, maybe it's probably going to be somebody we know, or else they wouldn't be keeping him in the shadows as much. You know, I was thinking, okay, I hope it's not Anatoly or Black Siren Laurel, because that would just be kind of stupid to have one of them being the ultimate bad guy this season. But maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's somebody we've gotten to know in the past, and maybe they're returning, or maybe they're setting up for like this ultra bad guy that's just like, holy crap, he's going to be the big bad for this season. It's going to be awesome. Diaz. That one random guy, yeah, the one that I didn't know who he was. He kind of popped up here and there in a couple episodes. I'm just like, who's that again? Okay, whoever. Yeah, he's the bad guy. And you want to know why this is such a great plot twist? Because you didn't predict it. You didn't get it right, so clearly it's a great plot twist. Because nobody would ever guess it's that random guy that nobody knew. Brilliant! Wow, I'm going to write such a great mystery novel where, I mean, you meet all these interesting characters, and then it turns out to be that one guy that you got to see like a few seconds. Brilliant! Who doesn't want to see something like that? Who doesn't want to see something where the guy that your main hero has to take on turns out to be some random guy that we hardly got to know? I'm so excited now. I want to see him take on this random guy who has paid off a couple officials, and who cares? I don't get it. I don't understand why they think this is a good twist. It doesn't make any sense. I hardly know Diaz. And on top of all that, why is he dangerous? Oh, so he's smarter than Caden James. Okay. And? I mean, that's all we seem to be facing nowadays between Prometheus and now Caden James and now Diaz. Let's just face super smart guys that can see into... The only one where that works has been the Thinker. Because he actually has metahuman abilities where he can see all these possibilities. For Arrow, it hasn't been metahumans, it hasn't been like superpowered people. It's just regular guys. Prometheus could fight, Diaz can fight a little bit too, but it's just guys that are super smart. And that's all it is. And I don't see any interest in that. I want to see Oliver take on somebody that could, that can beat him in a fight and outwit him too. Prometheus, that's why he made such a good villain. He could outwit Oliver, but could also fight him. Diaz, I mean, I haven't seen any fighting capabilities that make me think, oh, Oliver's going to have trouble with him. Smarts-wise, yeah, he outsmarted Caden James, but so what? Caden James, it was built up as a good battle against Oliver, but ultimately, him being tricked by one of the people working for him, I mean, that makes me think, oh, I want to see Caden James take him on, not, oh, I want to see Oliver take Diaz on. I just haven't seen enough of a rivalry here for Oliver to be like, yeah, let's take on that guy. There's just no build up to it. There's no sort of like payoff. It's just, oh, It's that one random guy. There are 3 suspects. 2 of them we know very well. 1 of them we don't. It's the one that we don't know that turns out to be the true culprit. I don't care. I don't care about this at all anymore. I don't care going into the rest of the season. I don't care about Oliver taking him on. I don't care about any of that. So, with all that being said, let's talk about some of the other storylines that I found really dumb in this one. Dinah's gone complete just psycho mode. And yet, for some reason, Curtis and Renee are like, yeah, we're still not on the team. We're going to be working with her, even though she kind of lost her mind a little bit and tried to kill Laurel. And hey, writers, why are we still being like total douchebags? Can somebody explain that to me? Because I don't see why. We saved the city with Oliver. We helped him. Dinah nearly cost everybody their lives, tried to kill somebody, and yet we're still going to be like, oh, no, we're not on the team anymore. We're with her, even though she's gone crazy. Can somebody explain to me why our characters are being so dumb right now? I imagine that's how the conversation went with one of the two. I assume at one point they had to just kind of break character and just say, what the hell are we doing? Because that's all I can think of. Now, Dinah, I completely understand why she's lost her mind. I mean, Laurel killed her boyfriend. Yes, she's the one responsible, but she's in denial, and that's why she's losing her mind, because she can't admit the fact to herself that she's the one that got him killed. And so she's blaming Oliver, and she's blaming everybody else, and she's obviously blaming Laurel because she's the one that killed Vince. And so now she's on a mission. She wants to kill her. Okay, I can at least understand that. I don't think she's right. I think she's stupid, but I can at least understand what's going on. For Renee and Curtis, though, I mean, both of them are smart enough to look at this situation and say, all right, this isn't good. What she's doing isn't right. We're not really helping her. We're kind of feeding into that hatred that we shouldn't be feeding into, and she's kind of lost her mind. So us working with her is putting our lives on the line. She's doing her own thing and not telling us. That's exactly why we left Team Arrow in the first place, and yet they still continue to just be total pricks. I mean, at the end of the episode, I wanted to smack Renee, or at least the writer who wrote this line, because he's just like, yo, Haas, I just want to say, yeah, everything worked out great tonight. That's great, but we're still not a part of the team. We still can't be doing this. And I'm just like, is there any need to say that? Like, you can just be like, all right, it was good to see you guys again. We got to get back and try to help Dinah, or something like that. Something that actually makes sense instead of like bad-mouthing them. Like, we still hate you. I don't understand, why does he deserve so much hatred when this new team that you've set up has already had Curtis going off and doing his own thing, now Dinah's going off and doing her own thing, and we all know Renee always does his own thing. There's no trust in that, and yet they continue to be together because, oh, we got this new team, we're so cool, and yeah, our riders don't know what they're doing anymore because apparently we're hypocrites. It's just so stupid, and I'm tired of seeing it. So with all that being said, move on from the team because I'm sick of talking about them. Talk about William in this one because he does pop up, and I don't know. I feel like I need to address the fact that he's being kind of hypocritical himself. Because one of the reasons he didn't want Oliver to be Arrow in the first place is because he's constantly putting himself in danger, and yet in this episode it's like he wants to be right alongside him with the danger. I don't really get that feeling. If I found out one of my parents or somebody close to me was going and doing dangerous stuff, putting their life on the line, I wouldn't like it either. I did understand that reaction from them. But at the same time, I wouldn't be like, oh, I understand why you have to do it. Let me be with you. Take me along. I want to be right in the thick of it, so if a gunshot happens to ring out and it misses you and hits me, that's smart. And the thing is, William's a smart kid. He should understand he doesn't need to be out there. I don't know. I don't know what the writers are doing, but it's like they don't know how to write these characters. They haven't. Now that I think about it, this is returning, honestly, like, going back to last season, it started to pick up a bit better because the character decisions, the motivations actually felt like they fit. This season is returning like Season 3, Season 4, where characters would do one thing and say one thing, and then all of a sudden, next episode, completely different. 1 second Felicity's like, you gotta go be Arrow, and you gotta be harsh, and you gotta be hard to stop these guys, and then he comes back and he's doing that, and she's like, I can't believe the monster you've turned into. I'm like, hello? You were just saying the other episode, and now we've returned to that. You got characters saying one thing, talking about, oh, we need trust, and then when they don't trust each other, when they do things that they don't tell their teammates about, they don't care. They don't react to that at all. You know, William talking about how he doesn't like his dad putting his life on the line, how he can't support that, and then he goes and puts his life on the line as well. Why? Because the writers don't care. Because they just write whatever. They maybe change writers every single episode, or they're bipolar. Bipolar sounds a bit better. So, moving on from William, we also got to talk about. I guess I'll talk about the flashbacks next. I don't know, just it's like they wanted to, kind of similar to the flashbacks they did for Dinah and Vince in the last episode. It's like they wanted to give us flashbacks of Caden James, so whenever he lost his boy, whenever he died by Diaz's hand, it's like they wanted us to care about it. I still didn't, because you can't just introduce a character, give me flashbacks, be like, oh, his son died, and expect me to be like, oh no, he's dying, and his son died, and that's so sad. You have to actually write a compelling story, and when the guy who ends up killing his son and has orchestrated these whole events, when I don't even know who that is, it just turned out to be some random guy that worked for Caden James this season, I'm just like, why do I care? I don't care. Okay, moving on. Finally, we'll talk about Oliver. We do see in this episode, he's really come to grips with what he's doing, trying to get the team to work together, trying to stop Caden James. I feel like of all the characters now, Oliver's starting to become the character that I want him to be, which is somebody who doesn't really fly off the handle. He tries to understand both sides of it, but he still has these moments where he can be very blunt if he needs to be. I love thinking more on it, that scene in the last episode. The more I thought about it, I'm like, that was a good scene for him. Because he goes over to Dinah to talk to her, to try to reason with her. And she's like, I don't care about your apologies. And it's like, I didn't come to apologize. Because it wasn't his fault, and she needed to know that. And that's the type of Oliver that he's become now, is where if he needs to apologize, if he needs to say, look, I'm sorry for something, he'll do it. But he doesn't go too far as to start taking too much blame. He also doesn't not go too far to say, just screw you and your feelings. He's actually trying to understand both sides and yet still see the truth in it all. And I think in this episode, it furthers a bit more. He's talking to Caden James. He's trying to get him to understand the truth while still recognizing the danger of the situation. The fact that Caden James, even if he does find out, oh, you didn't kill my son, there's still a good chance that he might look at it and say, I don't care, I'm going to kill whoever's responsible anyway. And so it's like he sees that and then finds the opportunity, the hole, and Caden James's attention, and then throws the knife. Which this is the second time in 2 seasons. It was at the end of last season where Prometheus had William and had a gun to his head, and he started lowering his bow, he gave up and then let it go and hit him in the hand. I was like, that was a cool scene. Same thing here. He's hugging William. He's like, it's okay, just look at me. And then as Caden James is saying, oh, I'm actually the one responsible. It was my fault that my son died. And he lets his guard drop. In that one moment, he had a knife ready and then threw it and hit him in the hand. I don't know, something about this this giving up, or seemingly giving up, and then using that moment to pop and spring an attack on somebody. I don't know why, but I love that. It's worked very effectively. It just looks really cool when it comes off. So anyway, just a small thing, but something I really enjoyed. But that's it over these 2 episodes. I mean, I don't know. It can be entertaining at times. The fight scenes can be entertaining. But at the same time, I need more than just good fight scenes. It's ironic because it's almost like, I'm not going to say Supergirl has the opposite because it doesn't even have good drama. But it's almost like, if the fighting in Supergirl was better, I may not hate it as much. But the problem is the fighting isn't good and the writing isn't good. For Arrow, at least the fighting is good, so it's something I can hold on to and something I can kind of enjoy. But it's still not enough. The Flash has good action and also has good writing with good characters. Legends of Tomorrow, it has good action and it's really funny. It's something I can laugh at and enjoy. You've got to have something with your story to make it a good show, a watchable show. If the story doesn't make any sense, if it's not compelling, if you're trying to go for something super serious and it just comes off as confused and not very compelling, then you're not going to grip anybody. You know, they'll tune in, watch, see what's going to happen next, but likely you're not really going to have their attention. They're just going to be half watching it. So that's about it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 2 episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future error reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.